If you got a job right now, I want y'all to comment if you're one of those workers where you know how to do the job and you're damn good at it, but you playing around a lot, like a lot, like to the point where your managers or your work or like your coworkers be like, "Yo, come on, now, chill out, relax. Why you gotta play around so much? Calm down." Like for me, I'm a goofy ass person. I'm a goofy ass person. I'm a goofy ass person. Right? I've always been like I was born goofy. Right? And I'm gonna die goofy. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. But like, yeah, man. Like for me, every job I have ever had, and still to this day, my managers don't like me because although I'm a very good worker and I know what to do and how to do the job, they don't like how I work. They don't like the fact that I'm goofy all the time. But that's just who I am. You can't change me. Nobody on this planet is ever going to change me. No, nor nothing is ever going to change me. I guarantee you that. Like, let me do my job. Obviously, I know how to do it. I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun. You feel me? You feel me? Yes? You do? Okay. Thank you. Relax. Why you gotta be so strict, huh? Loosen up. Just loosen up on them. Loosen up. Have some fun in your life. Damn. Gotta be strict all the goddamn time. Obviously, there was some emotion behind that because that was true. Like every one of my managers I have ever had, and still to this day, they don't like how I work. They don't like how goofy I am. But you know, it is what it is. You know, I clucked with them all and I got tired. Whatever you did, it is what it is. Hey, shouts out to the Scorpion. Scorpion. Whatever. Drake new album. Sup? No. Oh.
In autumn of 1994, the Gorman family purchased their dream ranch in a rural corner of Utah in the USA.
Okay.
They couldn't believe their luck when they first viewed the 480-acre property with its lush pasture, cottonwood trees, and Russian olives.
No. Fuck, no. Sorry. No. That's a lot of land. That's a lot of open, just space. That's a lot. No, I'm not having it. I want neighbors. I want neighbors on neighbors. I want neighbors in front of me. I want neighbors on the side of me. I want neighbors behind me. Pause. I don't want to be in the middle of like. I don't want to live like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't. Like that's a lot of open land. That's a lot of just possible things. Or people. Just there. Like your house is completely open to anything and everybody. Like, I mean, unless you got like some minefields or some like hidden like tricks or whatever to cluck people up, then you living in a house and you got like acres on acres on acres, you're clucking up. Sorry to say, but you are. You need to have neighbors in front of you, on the side of you, and in the back of you. Pause.
They were so caught up in the beauty of the surrounding of their new home that they didn't question the reasonable price they paid for it, or the very strange clause that was built into the real estate contract, stating no digging on the land without prior warning to the previous owners.
Okay, why?
Neither were they unduly alarmed when they first entered the house and discovered that every door had large, heavy-duty deadbolts on both sides. All the windows were bolted shut, and that the previous owners had chained very large guard dogs on both ends of the house.
Wow.
If they had questioned some of these odd anomalies, they might never have purchased the ranch and would have avoided the terror and tragedy they endured from the persistent, unexplained events that plagued them throughout the time they lived there. The family became so unsettled and confused, Mr. Gorman went public and gave an interview to the local newspaper, although he did not reveal the full extent of the torment his family had endured. However, it was enough to pique the interest of NIDS, the National Institute for the Discovery of Science, an organization founded by real estate developer Robert Bigelow, who went on to purchase the ranch. NIDS conducted a scientific study of the ranch that lasted 8 years, and this culminated in the fascinating book called Hunt for the Skinwalker, written by NIDS scientist Paul McKellar and investigative journalist George Knapp, who had authorized access to the family and ranch. Years on from that book, activity at the Skinwalker is far from over, and my good friend, filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, has done what no investigator has ever done before: produced an intense documentary on the ranch. I had the pleasure of viewing his new film, Hunt for the Skinwalker, and it's incredible. Nothing has ever been done like this before, and I cannot wait to share more information as the release gets closer. Stay till the end of this video to check out the full trailer because you don't want to miss it, and enjoy these 5 of the many reported strange anomalies at the most scientifically studied UFO and paranormal hotspot in human history. For the purpose of this list, we'll be referring to the family as Tom and Ellen Gorman, although this is not their real names. Invincible and extinct wolves. One of the first indications that something wasn't quite right with their new home was the day the Gorman family moved in. They were unpacking when they spotted a large animal out in the pasture. Their first thoughts were it was a coyote or wolf, but
Nah, my first thought is, we unpacking? It's our first day here and we unpacking, we see that shit. Hey, honey, kids, it's time to repack and go. I don't know what that thing is, but I'm out of my business. I understand that we just unpacked, but it's time to repack what we just unpacked. You see that shit over there? Yeah. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's huge. We going. Okay? And if you're not coming, then nah. Nah.
creature got closer. It seemed totally unfazed by their presence, and seemed determined to make contact. It was almost 3 times the size of an average wolf, and seemed completely tame, even allowing Tom to stroke it. Its coat was silver grey, eyes a piercing glacier blue, and the children excitedly started to discuss whether they could keep it as a pet. However, after a few minutes, it became clear that this was no pet. When the animal calmly walked off towards a livestock pen, and with lightning speed, grabbed an unsuspecting calf whose head was peering through the bars, and tried to drag it through the gap. Tom and his father kicked out at the wolf, and struck it with a baseball bat, but the creature was unrelenting, and in a desperate bid to save the stricken calf, Tom shot at the animal's ribs, point-blank range, with a .357 Magnum.
I don't think you should have did that.
Alarmingly, it had no effect, and it produced no blood and no wound. A further 2 shots to the stomach of the beast yielded similar results.
Stop doing that.
But after the 3rd shot, the creature finally retreated, releasing the injured calf before calmly strolling off. Tom took another shot, this time to the heart, but again the animal showed no signs of distress or injury as it wandered away. Tom then grabbed his hunting rifle and took another shot.
Stop shooting.
This time the wolf recoiled slightly, but still appeared uninjured. He shot again, this time hitting the creature in the chest, with a sizable chunk of flesh being detached through the exit wound.
Why do I feel like this Skinwalker is gonna has peoples with him? His family is just somewhere really close, and the more he keeps shooting, the closer his peoples are gonna get. I feel like the Skinwalker is not alone. I feel like he has reinforcements. I feel like it's other junks near the house. I feel like they're just watching him get shoot at until the point where he like the shooter does some serious damage, and then that's when like 20, 30 of them motherfuckers gonna come out and be like, yo, what's good? What's up? I saw you this whole time, so what's up? Oh my god, why am I so goofy? Do y'all ever like stay up late at night with like your friends or whatever, or your family member, and you'll just be like laughing at the tiniest things or something that's normally not funny? Y'all be dying laughing. I don't know why that happens. Like for me, if it's like late at night and I'm with my cousin or like one of my peoples, we'll just be laughing at the tiniest things. We'll be laughing hard yet. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
On the grass. When the family later inspected the flesh, they recall it had a foul smell, like rotten meat, combined with a musky fox scent.
Ew.
Tom tracked the creature for more than a mile, but eventually the trail inexplicably vanished, along with the beast. This was not the only encounter the family would have with weird animals. Over the next 2 years, an array of unidentified creatures made their presence felt on the ranch.
See?
Ranging from huge wolves to red, curly-haired, bushy-tailed, hyena-looking creatures.
Damn.
That terrorized one of their horses.
Oh.
Along with a nearby, invisible creature that resembled the camouflaged being in the movie Predator.
Oh.
That terrified a visitor to the ranch. They also had numerous encounters with exotic, multicolored birds that were certainly not native to the region and could not.
But you're still living there. That's what you tell. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. That you're still living there. No matter what happens, you're still there. Not even thinking about moving. No hesitation. No, you just gonna stay there. I mean, how long are you gonna stay there? Like, are you gonna stay there until you get your shit clucked up? Huh? How long are you gonna stay there? Come on. Red flags out the mother clucking. I don't know why I censored myself. There we go. What the? Yo. See, you got, it's people like that are so, I don't know if I'm using this term right, but they're so oblivious or so naive or whatever. They're so, they don't know what's really going on. They don't know how serious the situation is until it's too late. You cluck.
Identified. Paranormal activity.
No.
One of the more frequent phenomena the Gormans endured was glowing blue orbs. These orbs frequently disturbed their animals and tormented the family. Mm-hmm. They described them as glass-like balls with swirling liquid inside. It's hard to say whether these orbs were paranormal or extraterrestrial, but whatever they were powerful and eventually led to a tragic and terrifying incident that proved to be the final straw for the Gorman family, and was the reason they finally decided to give up on their dream and sell the ranch. This is what happened. One evening in April 1996, Tom sat outside his house, surveying his land as he often did.
Okay.
Sat beside him were his 3 local dogs, all blue heelers.
Okay.
As he looked out across the landscape, he saw a familiar sight, a large orange object somewhere in the distance.
Time to go in the house.
He was not overly concerned. After all, he and his family were used to this strange occurrence.
Wow.
And on occasions, they had even seen things flying out of the orange form.
You're kidding.
As if it served as some sort of portal to another dimension. But it was what he spotted later that bothered him. He saw an intense flash of blue light. The dogs were also aware of it, and became agitated, beginning to growl as the blue orb moved closer towards them. The orb was floating around 10 feet off the ground, was perfectly round, and slightly larger than a cricket ball. As it got within 100 yards of them, Tom instinctively let the dogs loose.
What?
Not thinking that it would pose any real risk.
What?
They took off at speed, chasing the orb, snapping and snarling at it.
You don't care about your dogs.
As it skillfully dodged them, often missing their snapping jaws by inches. But ominously, it seemed to be luring the dogs further and further away, leading them deeper into the undergrowth. Until eventually Tom lost sight of them, Shortly after, he heard the most blood-curdling of howls, and it was apparent that his dogs were in absolute agony. This was followed by complete silence, and Tom feared the worst.
That's what you...
He waited for hours for his dogs to return, but they didn't, and he...
Yo, that's what you get, man. I mean, what do you expect? You let your dogs loose to go after a UFO or to go something that's out of this world, to go chase that? What was you thinking? What was you thinking? I mean, obviously you wasn't thinking. I mean, obviously you don't care about your dogs that much. That's crazy. Like, what did you expect? Do you expect them to come back? They're chasing something they have never seen before. Oh, wow. I mean, you had to have taken that into... Okay, maybe I'm taking it out of proportion. Maybe he does or did care about his dogs. But, like, why would you let them go like that? You cluck?
...to turn in for the night and search for them the next day. The next morning, he headed to the area where he last saw his dogs. As he approached, he was overcome by the putrid smell of burning flesh. And when he moved closer, he could see 3 large circles of scorched grass. In the center of each circle was a greasy black blob. This was all that remained of his 3 beloved dogs.
Damn.
Someone or something had completely butterized them.
God.
Tom went back to his family and declared enough was enough. The ranch was going up for sale. He conceded defeat to his unknown enemy. UFOs. The area where the Gorman's Ranch is located, just south of Fort Duchesne, has been a hotbed of UFOs and bizarre paranormal activity for years. During the family's time at the ranch, they witnessed an array of aerial phenomena and crafts that they could not explain. And here we will look at a couple of the more bizarre and vivid encounters they had. Tom Gorman was very protective of his land and stock, and after numerous uncomfortable happenings at the ranch, he had taken to spending a lot of time out at night, scanning the ranch and checking on his animals. One freezing night in particular, as he walked back after inspecting his land and livestock, he spotted movement out of the corner of his eye. As he turned around, he could see in the distance an aircraft. It was around 30 to 40 feet long, and was not a craft he recognized, although it did resemble a small snub-nosed F-117 stealth bomber. However, he reported the usual hum you would expect from such a craft was non-existent. The object hovered around 20 feet off the ground and started to move towards him slowly. Radiating from it were tiny multicolored lights that showed up bright against the glistening snow. Tom noted that its slow-motion movements gave the impression it was defying gravity. It seemed to be searching the area, as if looking for something, when suddenly, without warning, it turned its attention to Tom. It stopped momentarily, and the lights went out, before it turned and silently moved away before disappearing. Tom was unsure what he had just witnessed, and what exactly was it looking for. This was not the last time the craft made an appearance. Just a few weeks later, Tom's wife Ellen also had a close encounter with the mysterious craft. Ellen was driving home from work. She knew she was going home to an empty house, as Tom was away, and the children were staying with friends. With all the strange things that had happened lately, she was feeling apprehensive. As she approached the gates to the ranch, she got out the car to unlock them. Then, after driving through, she got out again to lock back up. But as she returned to her car, she was unaware that a black shadow had cast over her vehicle. As she looked up to see what it was, she saw a large triangular object moving towards her. She quickly got in her car and started to drive, but the object was following her. She was conscious that the craft had caught up with her and was silently hovering over the top of her car. Similar to what Tom had seen, the craft was emitting tiny multicolored lights.
She must have had that Nissan, Tesla, I don't know, Bugatti car, maybe a Toyota, maybe a, Charger. I don't know. Because she wasn't getting nowhere. Like the UFO was just right above her the whole time. So she couldn't really go nowhere in the car. But if you had that Adidas engine, then maybe, not maybe, for a fact, you would have lost them. Right. And then you would have been moving so fast, you would have went through time and space. You feel me? I mean, I gotta get y'all help to this new Adidas engine. Cost about anywhere between like like 5,000 to like $500 million. Somewhere in between there. I don't really know. But if she would have had that Adidas car, oh man, she would have lost them in seconds. I'm stupid.
Projected on each side of the car. As soon as she reached the house, the craft rose up into the night sky and slowly moved away until it disappeared over the headland. Less than an hour later, Ellen glanced out of the window and was shocked to see a large motorhome parked in the pasture in front of the house. It was clearly visible and was no more than 200 yards from the window. Inside the brightly lit vehicle, she could see a black figure sat at a desk. He was wearing some sort of uniform and had a black visor-type helmet on. The figure suddenly stood up and walked towards what looked like a light-filled doorway. She realized he was huge, possibly 7 foot tall or more, and had knee-high boots, similar in appearance to Darth Vader. He was now staring straight at her, and she quickly closed the curtains and retreated back into the house. She immediately called Tom, and was in such distress that he decided to come home, and drove through the night to be with her. The next morning, the pair walked out to the pasture where Ellen had seen the vehicle, and was shocked to find huge footprints in the soft mud. They were around 18 inches long. There was no tread grooving, just a flat imprint with a rounded heel. What also puzzled them was how the vehicle could drive onto their property in the first place. After all, there was one way in and one way out, through a gate that was always locked. Possible alien experimentation.
Oh.
Cattle mutilations have been attributed to various things, ranging from natural decomposition to extraterrestrials. In recent years, they've become such a problem that they were the subject of 2 independent federal investigations in the United States. So with all the unusual activity at Skinwalker Ranch, it's no surprise that the Gormans suffered loss of livestock through unexplained mutilations. The first of their cows to be affected was found dead shortly after a UFO sighting. It was completely mutilated, but it did have a hole in the center of its left eyeball. When Tom found the cow, he also noticed a chemical smell in the area, and unusually, the animal carcass had been untouched by predators. A short time later, a second cow was found dead, with the same hole in the left eyeball. With both these animals, Tom inserted a wire into the hole to gauge the depth of the wound, and in both cases, the wire slid in effortlessly to the center of the brain.
Damn.
Also during this time, some of the Gormans' cows started disappearing. The family had looked everywhere for them, but they had simply vanished. One of the more distressing incidents happened in March 1997, when Tom and his wife ventured out to the fields to tag the ears of recently born Black Angus calves. The first one they came across was pretty straightforward. No issues with the mother or calf, and they placed the yellow tag in the calf's ear. Although they did notice a strange chemical odor in the air. After tagging the calf, they carried on to the next field, when inexplicably, their dog started to act erratically, and turned around, beginning to bark towards the previous field before running off.
Damn.
The Gorman, sensing something was wrong, walked back to the first field, and found the calf's mother, limping and visibly distressed. When they saw the calf led, spread-eagled on the ground, with its entire body cavity missing, and its muscles stripped out, they immediately called in NIDS, who later arrived with a vet.
Damn. Damn.
The pathology revealed that the calf had been expertly dissected with a sharp instrument. There were no signs of blood or entrails, and it was concluded that it had been killed elsewhere and the carcass brought back. What was astonishing was that all this had to have happened in less than 40 minutes. As for the dog, he was never seen again.
Ah, damn.
These incidents had all the hallmarks of an alien experimentation: the strong odor, the UFO sightings, and the skill and speed at which the animals met their death. And these were the only possible encounter with the aliens on the ranch. On the very last night Tom and Ellen Gorman spent at the ranch, they locked all the doors and retired to bed, and soon fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, they awoke to find their bedding covered with blood. And when they looked for the source of the blood, they both discovered a 1/8 deep scoop mark in each of their right thumbs. Had they had one last visit from their tormentors in their own home? They both even had the exact same dream that night. Both dreamt that they were communicating with aliens. The Skinwalker. So who or what is a Skinwalker? And what is its connection to the Gorman family and their remote ranch in Utah?
I don't care.
A Skinwalker is a type of malicious witch who has the ability to mutate into or disguise themselves as any animal they please. They take on the speed, strength, and appearance of that animal. They've also been linked to Sasquatch and Bigfoot. The native tribes of the American Southwest all have their own version of the Skinwalker, but in reality, they are all one and the same thing. The Ute tribe, who live close to the ranch, firmly believe the Skinwalker is responsible for the strange goings-on of the ranch, and its presence in the Uinta Basin extends back at least 15 generations. To when a dispute with the Navajo tribe resulted in a curse being cast over them in the form of a Skinwalker. To this day, the ranch property is off limits to tribal members because they believe it lies in the path of the Skinwalker. When George Knapp and his team first investigated the ranch and interviewed locals, this belief was confirmed. During their time living at the ranch, the Gorman family saw a host of different creatures and phenomena that seemed so bizarre that there were those who questioned whether any of it happened at all. However, when someone other than the Gormans had a very real encounter with something in the grounds, the Gorman story suddenly became more credible. On August the 25th, 1997, Mike, a member of the NIDS team, was on a night patrol at Skinwalker Ranch with his colleague Jim. The pair were standing on a ridge, looking down over the pasture. It was a place where the Gormans had witnessed some of the strange events in the past, and they were hoping to catch signs of something. At around 2:30 a.m., they spotted a faint light just above the ground. It was not visible to the naked eye, but through their powerful night vision binoculars. The binoculars amplified a low-level ambient beam that produced a yellowish light that expanded to form a 4 feet diameter tunnel-like effect. Suddenly, Mike saw a dark creature, at least 6 feet tall, crawling through the light tunnel and walking away.
I ain't see shit.
The tunnel then began to shrink before eventually disappearing. However, strangely his companion Jim did not witness the phenomenon, and claims to have only seen the light. Although the pair had scientific equipment to measure radiation levels and magnetic spikes, these failed to record anything unusual. They also took photographs that show nothing but a faint light. But Mike is as certain as the Gormans about what he witnessed, and is the only member of the NIDS team to experience a possible encounter with the Skinwalker. So what are your thoughts on the Skinwalker Ranch? Could one malevolent witch really be responsible for a series of events that incorporate everything we are fearful of? A shape-shifting, mind-controlling being capable of mutilating and stealing cattle, incarcerating dogs, creating portals, UFOs, and paranormal encounters, all concentrated on one remote ranch in Utah. Does it all sound hard to believe, or is Skinwalker responsible for all of the anomalies in the world, and the area surrounding Skinwalker Ranch is just the hub of its activities and experiments? I know someone who's been trying to find out.
The global public is not ready to have global confirmation of this.
I'm not.
Disturbing things will occur. It's just too powerful.
Skinwalker Ranch. This is like the Area 51 of the paranormal.
It was not a single phenomenon. There were a host of things that happened.
Have there been experiences there that have shaken the Pentagon and CIA and other agencies? Absolutely.
Nobody knows what we're dealing with. That's the bottom line. Nobody knows.
This is 30 or 40 hours of material that the public has never seen before.
They saw this humanoid creature crawling through this tunnel, hovering 4 feet above the ground. Something forced 4 2,000-pound bulls to cram themselves into this trailer without opening this door. It's completely impossible.
I've seen things that I can't explain.
This was one of the most surprising things that we recorded right after I purchased the ranch.
Is it real?
Oh, yes, I believe it is.
Something is here.
These are real, tangible, physical events. This is game-changing.
It's one thing to be reading about UFOs or other realities or interdimensionals. It's another thing to be staring at it right in the face.
Clock that.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's it? You just gonna end it like that? Alright, cool. No warning or anything. I'm not even gonna lie, that trailer looks really dope, and I might have to see that jump. I'm not even gonna lie with you on that one. But the people that's doing that clocking up to the max. There's no question about it, right? If they was wearing Adidas, they would have never been in that situation. They never would have even thought about it, you know? Like for me, Adidas is just in my blood. You feel me? Like it's always been in my blood, you know? Like when I was born, like the doctors, like, you know how some babies, you know, you have the doctor, you know, telling the woman, you know, push, and they try to help the baby. They try to help the mother by getting the baby out of the vagina. Like for me, because the Adidas was in my blood, I just shot out. You know, like I didn't need no help. I just shot out. You know, and you know, lucky for me, there happened to be like a Tempur-Pedic bed, you know, right there on the floor. So when I shot out, I was good. I was safe. Oh, and I was clean as hell too. No blood on me, no nothing. I was a clean ass baby. You know, weighing in at 35 pounds. Is that big? I don't know. I don't know how much I weighed when I first came out. I just made that up. But yeah, I made up the weighing part. I really did shoot out like, you know, like a bullet. Oh man, but I landed safe though. Like I landed on a nice Tempur-Pedic bed, you know. But I don't understand why people live out in places where they have open land, like a lot of land. Like they don't have no neighbor. Like the closest neighbor to them is a couple of miles down the street. Like I can't live like that, man. If something, I know where to spit it. But if something pops off and I'm in the middle of nowhere, who the hell I'm gonna run to? I can't run to no neighbors. I can't run to no random person jogging on the street. I can't do that. No, granted, you know, I'm gonna have my Adidas on, and when something pop off, I'll be halfway across the country. There we go. But I'm just saying, like, I can't be living like that. I need my civilization. I need my neighbors. I need to have people around me. I can't be out here living like the Courage the Cowardly Dog. I can't be doing that. And why is it that UFOs, like for me, normally, usually, when they show up in big place, like big, open land. they don't show up in like, they don't usually show up in like, you know, places that are populated or places that have people in like a lot of people in them. You know, like I don't understand how. I don't understand why they do that. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But like normally or usually, what I see dealing with UFOs, they're usually out in like open land. It's not really nobody around, or if it is, it's like one or two people, maybe, you know. But I don't know why they're typically UFOs show up in open land where it's like little to no people, versus UFOs showing up to like, you know, places where it is a lot of people and people, families and whatnot. So I just never understood that. But the people that's making this film for like the hunted Skinwalker or whatever, man, kudos to you, because I would never ever do that. And I know y'all got clucked up doing the making of that film. So there's no question about that. But hey man, keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.